start? Are you nodding? Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Streaming Safari here at the Lion Habitat Ranch. Thank you for joining us for Streaming Safari, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this later. We absolutely love having you here. If you've been able to make any donations or come out and see us, thank you, thank you, thank you. My favorite way to donate to us and help out all of our lovely animals here at the Lion Habitat is to come and visit us. We are open every week from Thursday to Monday. We're currently on our winter hours, so we will be open from 11 to 3, last call at 2, so you have plenty of time to come in, check out everything, maybe see some fun enrichment, all kinds of fun stuff going on here. Aussie painting, of course. And if you did want to donate before you're able to come and see us, if you're like out of state and you're planning your visit to come and see us, all the links are right down below.
Making a donation in somebody's honor as a gift for the holidays is great.
So Denise is jumping ahead in my thoughts, which were the holidays were all coming up. So great gifts, Aussie paintings. That's one of my favorite gifts. So you can come here and get an Aussie painting. You can go online and get an Aussie painting. And also making a donation. What Denise was saying, if you didn't hear, is making a donation in somebody's name is always an amazing gift. Maybe getting somebody a lion feed or a Aussie painting experience as a gift. Those are all options. All the links are down below. Okay. So, really quick, events. We have our very first Wine and Paint with Ozzy coming up. Don't worry, Ozzy's not drinking any wine. But we're having our very first Wine and Paint event with Ozzy coming up on November 24th. That's the Friday after Thanksgiving. It is a 21 and up event. So spend Thanksgiving with your family, do all that fun stuff, then come out, bring a date, and come see us at the Wine and Paint event. So we got tractors and forklifts going by. Okay, so our experiment today has to do with oxidation, reduction, reactions. I think maybe we've talked about this on Streaming Safari before. I feel like it's been a little bit though. So I've got some chemistry to show you guys, of course, before we get to the fun part. Now, we're going to talk about something called enzymic or enzymatic browning. And basically that's what happens when you leave fruit or vegetables out and they get gross and brown. What's going on? There's actually an oxidation reduction reaction happening. And so what does that mean? Well, simply what oxidation means is that there's something doing with oxygen, right? There's oxygen involved, and there is something that is losing an electron. Now, the other half of an oxidation reaction is what's called reduction. So that's why you'll also see these called oxidation and reduction reactions. Reduction is actually really confusing because it's gaining an electron. Wait, what? Reduce? Gain? How does that work? Well, an electron is negative, right? So you're reducing by adding an electron, which gets a little bit confusing to keep track of. So oxidation reduction reaction, I am actually going to write out an equation for you guys, a very simplified equation of what's actually going on in the fruit that we're going to look at. So what happens in the fruit is there are certain enzymes. So there is something called phenol, a type of chemical, and the phenol can be catalyzed by something called phenolase. And phenolase is an enzyme. And so all an enzyme is something that catalyzes a reaction. And what catalyzes a reaction means is just makes the reaction go faster. Oh my gosh, why don't we make this more simple? So there's one thing. There's a thing that makes it go faster, like pushing on the gas pedal, and then you get a new thing. So here's the very simplified version of what's going on in our fruit. So you have a little chemical. We're going to do a little bit of organic chemistry here. So this basically represents all these different carbons, okay? And there's going to be different linkages between the carbons. There's hydrogens associated with the carbons. It's a whole thing. We're going to call this a phenol. Now, there's all kinds of different chemicals that make this up. But basically what happens is when you expose your fruit to the air, it introduces oxygen from the air. And it's going to have that enzyme that's going to make the reaction happen really fast. Now, what's going to happen first is that this oxygen is actually going to go, ooh, there's a buddy. And so he is going to actually grab on to this phenol, and you're going to get something that looks like OH. OH. So he grabbed onto there, and then this is going to be 3. A lot of counting involved. Our lions are either very upset or very happy that we're doing chemistry. Yes?
Do you want to ask them if they want to put their guesses and comments of what fruits have this reaction in the comments?
Denise thinks that you guys should maybe take some guesses at what fruits might have this kind of reaction. Maybe the biggest reaction in this way, because everything has an oxidation reduction reaction. You make them in your body. That's why actually fruits, some of them are we refer to as antioxidants, which actually help oxidation not happen. So once we get this, it's actually going to keep going. Basically, the reaction goes and goes and goes. And what happens the second time is really what causes that browning. And you're going to encounter the air again, and you're going to have the enzyme again. And then you're going to get, these hydrogens are actually going to pop off. So you're going to get something instead where you have what we call double bonds to these oxygens, and we lose the hydrogens. And hydrogens are essentially an electron. So like you might see hydrogen written as like an H, and that has a little dot by it. And that little dot says like there's one electron that's just floating around in there. So this is the phenol being oxidized. Now this phenol and the oxidized versions are connected to like a really big chemical. And when it comes down to it, what's being produced at the end as the end result that's making your fruit brown is actually melanin. And where do we find melanin, Denise? In your skin, in your hair, and it's generally, Ozzy's tongue, and it's generally a brownish color. And so that's why your fruit ends up turning brown, is because of this reaction that creates melanin from your phenols. Lots of chemistry stuff, guys. Okay, now the fun part, the actual experiment. What do you need for this experiment? Super easy things. And I'm going to give you a list of things that you can try out. So this is a cool experiment because you could pick and choose which stuff you want to use. So I've got a bunch of different fruits I kidnapped from our birds. So we have some pineapple, some strawberry, some banana, a grape, and some kiwi. I recommend using also lettuce and apples because we know apples go really, really brown.
What about avocado?
Avocado would be a good one too, I think. Yeah, so you can try this with any kind of fruit you have in your refrigerator. Maybe something's going bad and you're like, I just use it for this experiment. And learn some stuff. So what you want to do is basically just break up this fruit. You're going to set it outside in the sun, and you're going to set it there for at least an hour. You can set it there for longer. These were actually out for a couple hours. And I can see some browning and some wilting going on in a lot of these. This is a sweet potato. I didn't mention that one. So we've got a lot of brown going on in our banana here.
A little bit of brown on the grape.
Brown, yeah, on the grape, on the edges of the pineapple too. And they're also all drying out because part of the reaction also releases water. So that's actually part of our reaction as well. Where did these hydrogens go? They're actually becoming water when they react with this O2, and then they're just condensing off. So get those out. And then the next fun thing that you can do, I actually have, it's kind of tepid now, but it was warm water. You can get some water, and you can mix things in the water, or you can just try to dip the stuff in the water itself. So a set of them I would actually dip in some water, set them on another tray, and then compare them, right? Dip them in the water, see if that slows the reaction down. So you're going to have one that's just dipped in water. Then what you want to do is try something different. Try something like lemon juice that'll change the pH. Try something like sugar that will coat the outside of your fruit, or maybe even something like vinegar to change the pH, and see how that pH change affects it. So I'll mix my sugar in here, mix my sugar up in the water. I'll dip it in the sugar water, and then I'll have another trial where I set these out in the sun as well, right? And you can write on them like we do in some other streaming safaris where you have sugar, you have plain water, you have vinegar, and you have a control, right? So then you can compare them to how your control went versus whether the other trials actually kept the fruit fresher for longer.
Or you can make little tablespoons of guacamole and use different levels of like lime juice.
Yes, you could make different kinds of guacamole with different levels of lime juice. And then, I don't know if you want to eat it after you left it out in the sun for a couple hours though, but that is also a thing you can try. I think Denise really wants some guacamole today. What do you think, Swifty? He wants to take a nap. Well, thank you for joining us on Streaming Safari again. I hope this is a fun experiment for you. I hope I didn't overload you with the chemistry. But it's good to get us some chemistry in there. Yeah. Have a great time, guys.